Hi, my name's Doon, and this is my first video review of a video game I've done to date. I hope you enjoy it. Gonna be looking at Halo 4 for my first video. So, okay, well, first thing to point out is this is of course a new era for Halo. Up until this point, the Halo games were developed by Bungie Studios. However, after producing Halo Reach, they decided to call it a day. No doubt they just got sick of Halo. Of course, Microsoft didn't want to lose its flagship title or character, so a new studio was built, called 343 Studios. So here we are, Halo 4, as produced by 343 Studios. And as it says, 4 years after the Halo event, the game follows pretty much where we left off in Halo 3. Master Chief is stranded aboard the wrecked Forward onto Dawn starship, along with his AI companion Cortana, who wakes him up after 4 years in cryo sleep. Now, what's interesting about the story is that Cortana, she's actually supposed to have spent each and every day on her own, just basically thinking herself into madness. In the Halo universe, AIs are generally only active for about 7 years, and after that point they become like non-functioning and begin to degrade. Now, of course, Cortana has pretty much reached that point by this game, and so she's beginning to show the signs of what they call rampancy, which is basically like AI madness. Now, that's pretty much like the whole core of the game. There's other stuff going on, but Master Chief has to return Cortana to Earth to seek help from her creator in order to put things right, which, like I said, pretty much sums it up. There's some other shite going on as well. There's a bloke called the Didact, a race of aliens called the Forerunners, a new type of fucking annoying enemy called the Prometheans, but I'll get onto them in a minute. But I think the story's pretty strong, really, probably more so than the previous games. There was some bits where I was like scratching my head. Like I said, the Didact, I've got, before playing this game, I had no idea what a Didact is. I couldn't help but laugh during the cutscene when they're talking about it. Like, they're all talking about it like it's something I should be familiar with, and I was just like, what? A Didact what? Apparently, in order to follow the story, you're expected to read a bunch of half-arsed books, collect the serial tokens, and watch like the Taiwanese cartoon that only fucking aired once at 4 in the morning one time. I've got to be honest, stuff like that, it pisses me off. You know, it's nice to have an expanded universe, but you shouldn't expect your fans to have to seek out the material just so they can like basically grasp the story of the game itself. It's basically what the Matrix did, and it just stinks of trying to be too clever. But luckily, like I said, the Cortana thread, the whole, getting her back to Earth, the relationship between Master Chief and her, that's sort of like the emotion of the story, and it pretty much manages to carry the game off and the story off for the main part. The acting's pretty solid too, and that's good. Master Chief and Cortana get more to do with the characters and the lines. Though I will say that there's some pretty wooden moments, like, from the pair of them. If you don't believe us, just have a go on the Forerunner mission and just, properly pay attention to what they're saying. There's some really, like, there's a bit when Master Chief's like, "Is this the first pylon?" And it's like, Jesus, could he sound any more wooden? For anyone wondering, that confetti thing that's going on there, that's because of a mode, basically. It's called the Grunt Birthday. It's a skull that you turn on and off, and every time you get a headshot, you get a bit of a cheer and some confetti. It's pretty funny. I always play with it on for some reason. I'm a bit weird like that. The one absence from the story that did strike me was, I don't know whether it's for the best or not, to be honest, is the Flood. They're not in the game at all. I really just didn't enjoy the Promethean levels, with a little sort of brief exception of when the Prometheans face off against the Covenant, when they have like a little bit of a battle on one level. Now, I think it's probably fair to say of the previous Halo games that some of the best moments were when the Flood and the Covenant were fighting each other to the death, and you were kind of stuck in the middle of it, and everything was going on around you. Plus, I just think the Promethean Knights they're just cheap cheap bastards. It's effectively they're just bullet sponges who just rush at you without any regard for their own safety, and then just like magically retreat at an instant by way of teleportation. Totally annoying. Playing through this game on Legendary, the Promethean levels were just horrible and not very fun at all. And I fucking hate those stupid flying robot things. I'm sure you know what I mean if you've played it. Like, I hate them so much, I can't even bring myself to talk about them, so just fuck right off. One thing that I probably would have liked to see in the game that as well struck us as a bit of an absence was there's no like ODSTs and no like just I wish there was kind of more going on with the Marines and stuff, and you know, like, they're in the game, but I don't know, it doesn't feel the same as the previous Halo games. Like, you don't get the crack and like the banter from the Marines is what you do in the previous games at all. So, I mean, on terms of gameplay and that, now I've read some people have said that this is the best Halo game yet. I probably wouldn't go that far. I think it's safe to say it's surpassed my expectations. And what 343 has managed to do is take a much loved concept, stay faithful to it, but whilst implementing a lot of new ideas and new guns and that. The first thing worth mentioning is the sound design within the game. One of my biggest complaints about Halo in the past was that the weapons always sounded just a little bit light and toyish and just, you know, not quite there. But for anyone who's played the previous Halo games, as soon as you press, you know, right trigger and start shooting your first gun, you realise the guns are way more aggressive and mean sounding. Excellent job there, 343. The one thing I will say that I noticed that really bothered us was that often when I mean, this is more towards gameplay, not sound design, that when I picked up a gun, like say a shotgun, in favour of a sniper rifle, so that I could like shoot someone who was just around the corner, I would turn back round to get the sniper rifle back off the floor, and it would have like disappeared, and like you're talking like within 10 seconds. The weapons just don't hang around for half as long as what they previously did. Which, it's kind of sad. It really brings me to the big difference between 343 and Bungie Studios, is that there's just a little bit of magic missing from the game. Like for example, in the previous Halo games, if you zoomed into a Warthog with a scoped weapon, you could see the dashboard was all animated and things blinked and everything was like that. You could zoom into the Ghost and you could see there was a digital readout on the Ghost and that. But in this game, they're pretty much just fixed images. There's just something like about the previous Halo games. There's always little touches that made us smile that they're pretty much absent from this game. But anyway, back to the positives. The CGI was really, really good in the cutscenes. Genuinely impressed. There's some bits in the game where I thought, wow, you know, like even the skin on the humans and that, really, really well done. And the motion capturing really helps the characters come to life. You know, like stuff like when they were talking about realistic characters in LA Noire and stuff. Well, I think in this game, the characters are way better than LA Noire's characters. I really enjoyed the new additions to multiplayer as well. They've shook it up a bit. For example, you can now choose loadouts and choose weapons that you start the round with. Obviously, it's just been ripped off from Call of Duty. I think it was the right choice for the franchise. It makes multiplayer less of a race to just see who can pick up the best toys first, the best guns. That was always my sort of problem. If you knew the level's good enough, everyone just scrambled for the rocket launcher first. It all got a bit samey. As a full package, I've got to say it's a great game. It's a good alternative to your usual Call of Duties and Battlefields if you're more of a sci-fi person. I personally love the franchise. I can't wait to see another Halo game from 343. Definitely they've proved themselves. And in a world of video games where franchises such as like Call of Duty, FIFA and Forza's get like a yearly update these days, it's nice to play on a much loved franchise like this, which really only comes around you know, like every other year or every few years. It might not be the best Halo game, which I still maintain is the first one, but it's probably, I gotta be honest, my favourite game of 2012. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the review. I've enjoyed doing it. You'll have to look out for more videos coming from me. I think next up is Hitman review. I'll leave you playing out with a video here, a little bit of cutscene, it's not got any spoilers in, but obviously don't watch it if you've not played the game. It'd be a shame for you to see this in this video. Thanks now, bye.
Of course not, sir.
At ease, Chief. Feels kinda odd for you to call me sir.
Our duty as soldiers is to protect humanity, whatever the cost.
You say that like soldiers and humanity are two different things. I mean, soldiers aren't machines. We're just people. I'll let you have the deck to yourself.